على محمد وآل محمد وأجل فرجهم.
The topic of Imam today's Majlis is a tragic death in the prison of Sham. On the day of Ashur, the Islamic year 61 AH, the year Imam Hussain and his faithful companions, his brothers, nephews and sons, including the 6-month-old baby Ali Asghar, 72 total, were mercilessly killed in Kerbala. Despite the Imam Hussein's small army, they fought bravely against Yazid's 2,000 well-equipped and trained soldiers. Their mission was to save Islam from being dismantled by Yazid. After the 72 martyrs, the deaths of the surviving families, including their young children, were taken as prisoners to Sham. They were tortured and insulted all the way from Kerbala to Kufa and from Kufa to Sham. Imam Hussein's only surviving son was Imam Zain al-Abidin. His sisters Zainab and Kulsum, his daughter Sakina, his wives Ummi Layla and Ummi Rubab, and his mother Imam Hussein's wife, and his brother Imam Hussein's wife Ummi Farah were all taken as prisoners from Kerbala to Kufa and then Sham. These families of the 72 martyrs of Kerbala were then locked up in a prison in Sham for 1 whole year. They were confined to suffer a great deal in this prison. To understand their suffering, let us look at the condition of the prison in Sham. The Ahlul Bayt were locked up in this prison for nearly a whole year. They were all locked up together in one single cell. The cell was dark, damp and dirty, yet it had no chairs for sitting or beds for sleeping. They sat and slept on the hard floor, which was damp and cold. At all times the roof had gaps, and when it had rained, rainwater slipped right through it. Imagine the prison cell in your mind and feel the suffering of the Ahlul Bayt with your heart, and tears will flow from your eyes. Nearly 50 people were cramped into a small room for 1 whole year. The poor children had hardly any room to move around. Very cruel and sad, isn't it? Now let us focus our minds on how Imam Zain al-Abidin, Zainab and Kulsum, the widows and their children, spent their time into this cramped prison cell. In one tiny corner of the prison was Imam Zain al-Abidin, reciting du'as most of the time, and his head always in sajda, glorifying the Almighty Allah, not complaining about their suffering, but praising Him, Almighty Allah, for honouring them with the task of saving Islam. Salawat.
Allahumma salli ala Muhammadin wa ali Muhammad wa ajil farjahum.
In the other corner sat the mothers and their children on the cold, damp and bare floor, cramped together with no room to move. They too had spent their time thanking and glorifying the Almighty Allah to give them patience and to carry out their task for saving Islam. The mothers and the children's eyes were constantly filled with tears, not because of the torture inflicted on them, but because they never stopped thinking about the day of Ashura in Kerbala. Lady Farwa could not stop thinking about her beloved son Qasim, who was also martyred mercilessly. Lady Laila could not stop thinking about her beloved son Ali Akbar, and Lady Rubab was also thinking about her little baby Ali Asghar. Lady Farwa, Lady Layla and Lady Rubab were mothers, and like any mother loved their children very much. The biggest tragedy for a mother is to lose her child. These mothers of Kerbala were no ordinary mothers. Besides shedding tears for their children, they also thanked the Almighty Allah for honouring them and by accepting their children's sacrifices for Islam. Salawat.
Allahumma salli ala Muhammadin wa ali Muhammad wa ajil farjahum.
They were sad for the loss of their children, but they never regretted what their children had died for. In fact, they used to say if there had been more children, they would have sacrificed them all for saving Islam. The orphanized children sat on the floor with their eyes always full of tears, also thinking and missing their fathers immensely. The look of the sorrows and pain and sadness never left their innocent faces. Lady Zainab suffered the most in this prison. She stood up on her feet most of the time to give the others a little bit more space. Poor Zainab aged so much in her imprisonment in Sham. Due to her hardship in the prison, Bibi Zainab al-Islam became very weak. It was because of this extreme weakness she used to offer her wajab prayers sitting. She was too weak to do ruku and sajda. Besides standing most of the time and the lack of sleep, do you know what else made Bibi Zainab al-Islam so weak? She was ill, was not given enough food. Bibi Zainab al-Islam was not ill in prison, and the prisoners were given food. Do you know how much and what sort of food they were given? You'd surely shed tears to hear what sort and how much food was given to them during their long stay in prison. Stale bread and water was brought in every day. The few loaves of bread brought to the prisoners were hardly enough to even feed 20 prisoners, and there were 50. Lady Zainab al-Islam ate very little at all and gave away most of her share of the bread to the starving children. This is why Bibi Zainab al-Islam became so weak and went by in the prison. Salawat.
Allahumma salli ala Muhammadin wa ali Muhammad ajal.
Do you know what hurt Bibi Zainab al-Islam most in this prison cell? Anybody? The constant crying of Bibi Sakeena al-Islam in the prison in Sham hurt Bibi Zainab al-Islam deeply. Little Sakina, whose real name was Ruqayyah, was the youngest daughter of Imam Hussain al-Islam. She was a lively child, full of love and happiness when her father and Uncle Abbas al-Islam were alive. Everybody adored Sakina because of her cheerful and loving character. Sakina, though only 3 years old, could recite the whole Holy Quran by heart. She always covered her hair and face in public. She never missed her prayers. She was very generous and always shared whatever she had with others. That is why everybody loved her so much. Imam Hussain al-Islam used to say, "A house without Sakina is not worth living in." Her uncle Abbas also loved Sakina very much. If Sakina wanted anything, her uncle Abbas al-Islam would not rest until he got her what she wanted. There was nothing that Abbas would not do to make Sakina happy, and that is also one of the reasons why Hazrat Abbas al-Islam, when he was trying to get water, died mercilessly. Little Sakina loved her father and uncle just as much as they loved her. Let us briefly recall the event of Kerbala about Sakina's thirst and her uncle Abbas's love for her. In Kerbala, from the 7th of Muharram, no water was allowed into the camps of Imam Hussain al-Islam. The children could not tolerate the thirst because of the extreme heat. Sakina's uncle Abbas could not bear to see her beloved niece Sakina suffering from thirst. On the day of Ashura, Abbas al-Islam took Sakina's musk, her water bottle, to get some water for Sakina. And the other thirsty children came from the river Furat, got water only from the river Furat, no rivers nearby. And what you know happened to Abbas? Both his arms were cut and chopped, and he was killed before he could reach Sakina with water. From that day onwards, little Sakina never asked anyone again for water. Whenever she was persuaded to drink water by her aunt Zainab al-Islam and mother Bibi Rubab, she would burst into tears and say, Uncle Abbas, please come back, please come back. I miss you so much. I will never ask you to bring me anything. Just please come back to your Sakina. Let us now recall how Imam Hussain al-Islam bid farewell to his family, including his daughter Sakina, before he went to the battlefield. One by one, Hussain said Hudafiz to his wives, sisters and son, Imam Zain al-Abidin, who was lying semi-unconscious in his bed, and to his beloved daughter Sakina. Then Bibi Zainab al-Islam helped her brother to mount his horse and go to the battlefield. Once Imam Hussain al-Islam was mounted on his horse Zuljana and was ready to go to the battlefield, Zuljana seemed to refuse to take him to the field. Imam Hussain al-Islam then said to his horse, O my faithful horse Zuljana, I know you are thirsty and tired. Since the morning you have carried me from the battlefield for the last time, Zuljana. Please take me to the battlefield. Zuljana drew Imam Hussain al-Islam's attention to his legs by lowering his head down. Zuljana could not move and take Imam Hussain al-Islam to the battlefield because his little Sakina was clinging to Zuljana's leg. Imam Hussain al-Islam came off the horse and said, My darling Sakina, what is the matter? I have already said Khudafiz to you. I have to go to the battlefield. Your grandmother Fatima is waiting for me. Sakina said to her father, Father, I have noticed since this morning, whoever has gone to the battle has not come back. Father, you know that I cannot live without you. I have a habit on sleeping on your chest. How will I ever go to sleep without putting my head first on your chest? All right, Father, I will let you go if you let me lay my head on your chest first. Little Sakina laid her head on her father's chest for the last time on the day of Ashur. From that tragic day of Ashur, Sakina stopped smiling. Her eyes were always filled with so much tears from the day of Ashur. She missed her father so much. This is what made Bibi Zainab al-Islam very sad. Seeing her niece Sakina, who was so cheerful before her father's death, now crying for hours, day and night. Every night, little Sakina would cry for hours, remembering her father, before finally falling asleep. One dreadful night, little Sakina woke up from her sleep, crying and screaming, Mother, Aunt Zainab, Aunt Kulsoom, look, my father is here to take me with him. I saw him, and he told me that he has come to take me with him. Sakina's mother Rubab and her aunt Zainab and Kulsoom tried to comfort her, but she kept saying, I want my father. I want to go to my father. Where is he? Where is my father? Zainab's uncontrollable crying that night touched the hearts of all the ladies and children around in the prison. They too started crying eventually. The loud noise of weeping coming from the prison woke Yazid, who was sleeping comfortably in his palace nearby. He sent his guard to find out what was happening in the prison. Yazid was told that Sakina seen her father in her dreams, and she had woke up very distressed. No one was able to stop her crying. Yazid asked his guards to put the head of Imam Hussain al-Islam on a silver tray and cover it with a silk cloth, and take it to Sakina in the prison. The holy head of the Prophet's grandson was put onto a silver tray, covered with a silk cloth, and taken to the prison. The prison guard was also in tears to hear about Sakina's dream. He took the tray to Sakina and placed it by her side. Sakina gently removed the cloth from the tray. Sakina saw the face of her father with a huge sob. She bent down and put her little cheeks against the cheeks of her beloved father like she used to do when he was alive. She kept on sobbing, but suddenly she went all quiet. Zainab saw Sakina not moving at all. Sakina had also stopped breathing. Bibi Zainab alayhi salam called her nephew Imam Zain al-Abidin. She said, "Oh my son Sajjad, come quickly, look at Sakina, she has gone all quiet." Imam Sajjad alayhi salam put his finger over here like this to check if she was breathing, yet she was not. And Imam Zain al-Abidin said, "Inna lillahi wa illahi raji'un." Aunt Zainab, Sakina has left us and joined her father in heaven.